The truth is, when you're just doing things on your own, you could be consistent for a week or two, and then something happens in life and you fall off the wagon. The biggest thing is accountability outside of yourself, where there's no more excuses anymore. What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of the Kettlebell Guys. My name is Coach Grant, and it's been a hot minute since we got a podcast out. So I wanted to make sure that we got one out this week. And on this podcast, what I wanted to talk about is the idea of accountability. And I mean, real accountability outside yourself, because one of the biggest reasons that men come to Kettlebell Transformation and they end up signing up to work with us is because of the level of accountability that they receive. And there's an adjustment that we just made to the way that we service our clients, that if you are a KT client, you're listening to this now, you're going to start seeing in your relationship with your coach. But for all my new guys coming in, it's going to be something that, we're going to we are making an adjustment internally. And I think it's going to end up being a better experience for our clients overall. And it has to do with true accountability. One of the things that new guys, whenever I talk to new guys, because I talk to tons of them every week, guys who are considering joining Kettlebell Transformation, they always, it is not a lack of information. Every guy knows that they should be working out consistently, that they should be eating more chicken, rice, and broccoli and less McDonald's. Guys, at least perceptually, they have an understanding of the work that they should be doing. Now, whether they know exactly how to piece that work together to get the results they're after, that's another story. But they have a perception that they need to be doing certain things consistently each week. And so whenever guys come to us, one of the number one things that they say is in their way is real accountability. They say, I'm just not being consistent, and so I need accountability outside of myself. And I think, for the guys that we talk to who are considering KT, there's a level of spectrum that a man is willing to admit that he needs that accountability. For the guys who come in and they're like, they just know, they're like, I'm not doing it on my own. I need accountability. I need help. Those guys are ready to join Kettlebell Transformation. But for the guys who come in and they're like, yeah, maybe consistency or, maybe accountability is the thing that's getting in my way, but they're not really willing to admit that is the one thing that they're missing. Usually those guys are, they're on the fence when it comes to joining Kettlebell Transformation, just because they either don't believe that's the missing piece, or they're not ready to admit that they really need that. Or the third option is they're not ready to fully get that level of accountability. They're not fully ready to hand over the keys to, holding themselves accountable to someone else outside of themselves. Because the truth is, when you're just doing things on your own and you start, say you have all the best intentions of going and working out, or going and, eating healthy food or losing weight, and you could be consistent for a week or two, and then something happens in life and you fall off the wagon. Well, that's no big deal, because you're not accountable to anybody else other than yourself. And, we are human beings. We are masters of letting ourselves off the hook. And so it becomes this, I think it's even grander than guys realize. It's a moment of magnitude, a moment of synergy, where it becomes very real for a man, where he's like, okay, am I really ready to go get accountability outside of myself? Because it's one of the first things I say to guys when, before I go to explain our program, because dude, KT is a commitment. It's a commitment that our guys make financially, emotionally, mentally. But I think the biggest thing is the fact that you're committing to have us lay out the plan for you and then give you accountability outside of yourself, where there's no more excuses anymore. And one of the things that we are doing from an accountability standpoint is we are implementing a 7-day feedback loop, especially for all of our new guys who are coming into KT. And so we're implementing this 7-day feedback system. And so what happens when guys come into KT is, they go through a very specific onboarding process where we're teaching them the skills. We're doing a deep dive on nutrition. The whole goal of that onboarding is to get the green light that you are really ready to start a progression within our programming, within our training and nutrition. And then once guys now start their program, what we're now going to start implementing is we're going to implement 7-day feedback loops, where every 7 days, every week, you as a client are going to get a personal review from your coach. It's going to be a video that they send to you where they're able to view your adherence to the program. They're going to view your adherence on the nutrition front, on the training front. They're going to be viewing your stats. They're going to be viewing what's going on with your weight, what's going on with your body composition. And they're going to review, okay, what went well, what didn't go well over these 7 days, based on not only your adherence from tracking everything in our custom app, but also based on you submitting a subjective survey about how the week went for you. Now, guys who have been with us longer, your review period might not be every week. It might be every, 14 days. But especially for our new guys, this is super, super important, because you then are in this 7-day cycle of all you're focused on. Even though our first program that guys go through is a 4-month program, all you're focused on is 7-day stretches, is 7-day. All I got to be focused on is, what am I going to do the next 7 days? What do I need to be committed to? What do I need to make sure I do? What do I need to make sure I follow through with for these 7 days? And then what happens is guys will get in this positive feedback loop of getting this review where they're looking forward to getting that video review, that stat review from their coach every week inside of our program. And when I was explaining this, to one of our new guys a week ago, and I was explaining to him how this process works and how our real accountability works within our system. And he had said to me during the process of our call, he had said, I've started a lot of things in my life, but I've just always been a guy who's never followed through with it. And so I always feel motivated to start. I always feel motivated to, like start a new plan or a new workout or a new diet or whatever. But I always fizzle, a week or 2 to 4 weeks in, it always fizzles and something throws me off and I fall off track. And it hit me when I was explaining to him how our new level of accountability and how this system works. It hit me that what this 7-day feedback system does is it almost emulates the experience of constantly feeling motivated to start that brand new program over and over and over again every 7 days. And what happens for our guys is that because they are clear on what they have to do, they execute it, and then they get that review from their coach, they not only get this positive feedback loop of being acknowledged, being seen, talking through the things that they did well over those 7 days and how it's objectively impacting their body composition, their body fat, their weight, their strength, etc. But then they get a clear explanation of, here's exactly where we need to focus these next 7 days. And here's the exact 1, 2, 3 things that we need to crush if we want to continue to have this momentum moving forward. And having that every 7 days, it ends up being the same experience that you had before when you were getting motivated and getting super pumped up and getting like, okay, I'm starting this brand new program, so I feel really great about starting something new. What's going to happen for our guys in our program is that they're going to have that experience every single week, every week. And not only are they going to have the excited, pumped up, that natural intrinsic motivation of, okay, I'm starting a new 7-day cycle, they also get the positive feedback loop of looking back at what went well over the last 7 days or over the cumulative 14 days, 21 days, 28 days. And I think, and I know I can probably speak for Sean and Coach Rich, who's our director of coaching, and then all of my entire coaching staff, I can speak pretty much for everyone. We're all very excited about this. We're very excited about the way this is going to adjust from being able to deliver this consistent cadence of, you came to us for very specific results. And every 7 days, we're going to break down the things that we're doing, that you're doing, in order to make those results become your reality. And every 7 days, you're going to get this infusion of motivation, this infusion of, all right, I'm starting a brand new 7-day cycle. And I'm so very excited about it because it's going to lend so much more clarity. And I think it's going to be such a better experience, not only for us internally, but also for our guy that we serve. And so I'm very, very excited, especially for any of my guys, in 2025 from here on out, my new guys coming in who are getting into our first foundational 4-month program. I think it's going to be a game changer for the level of results and the level of, just like the ability to continue to stay intrinsically motivated inside of our program. And so if you are listening to this and you are either considering KT or you're in KT, you should be in that cycle with your coach. If you're not, you need to send me a message, but you will be in that 7-day cycle with your team. And if you're listening to this, and you're not in KT yet, this is what accountability looks like. It not only is you have a plan laid out for you where you see exactly what you need to do on a daily basis, or having a coach who's in communication with you consistently, who's checking in on you, making sure that you're doing these things. Having a weekly cycle of being able to objectively look at what have we done, what were we doing well, what did we not do well, what results did we get from the work that we put in, and now what do we need to do for the next 7-day cycle? Because if you can start stacking those 7-day cycles, 7, 14 days, 21 days, 28 days, 2 months, 4 months, 6 months, 12 months, that's when guys can start to compound their results over time. That's when guys can really lose 20, 30, 40 plus pounds, but be so aware of what produced those results in the actual moment, what produced those results over that time frame, that then it just becomes so permanent for you. It just becomes easy for you to know what you're going to need to be doing in order to not only continue to get the results that you want, but really maintain them long term, which is the ultimate goal of what we do at KT. And so if you're a man who's has an idea, perceptually you're like, I know what I should be doing, but I'm just not doing it, I would highly recommend you considering that kettlebell accountability is probably the number one thing that you need. It's the number one thing that I think guys are looking for. I always tell guys that if they didn't need that, then we would have to find a different job. We'd have to do something different. If you're looking for accountability, if you feel like you're not being consistent, that's our solution. That's what we put guys into. And if you're ready for that, then KT could be a solution for you. It could be a long-term answer because it's going to actually give you the structure with which you can be successful in. And so I'm really excited about it. It's a big change that we made in 2025. And I'm very, very excited about how it's going to adjust, not only the experience for our guys, but the results our guys can get, and also just the overall client experience. So for my guys who have been in KT a long time, you might have a little bit longer cadence. You might not need 7-day reviews. It might be 14-day reviews. Some guys who have been with us for 2, 3+ years, it might be monthly reviews, because the longer that you're in the system, the more it becomes your identity, becomes part of who you are. And you might already have the habits and the routines down to where one of my newer guys who's coming in knows he might need more structure. He might need more, a faster feedback loop, which is why we do every 7 days in the first 16 weeks. So that's how that works. I'm excited for it. I figured I'd make a podcast talking about it. And so if you're a guy looking for support, consistency, accountability, that's what we do. And I know that if you're looking to figure out if KT is the right solution for you, you can always check below in the show notes. There's usually a link down there where you can check out our program and apply and go through our process. Hope you guys are having a fantastic week, fantastic start to your new year. And hope you guys are all crushing it, swinging bells every week, and getting the results that you want. All right. With that being said, hope you have a great rest of your week, and I'll see you guys in the next step.